I woke to the weight of the mattress sinking, unseen fingers sliding over my skin, and a breath at my ear whispering, "Mine." But that was only the beginning of what the night did to me. I slid under the blanket that night, hoping for nothing more than rest. But the silence that filled my room wasn't comforting. It was charged, heavy, almost watchful. I shifted, tugging the sheet higher, but as I moved, my shirt lifted slightly, leaving a strip of skin bare to the cool air. That should have been nothing, ordinary. Yet when the warmth touched me there, deliberate and lingering, I knew the night would be different. My chest rose and fell too fast, shallow breaths betraying my unease. I told myself it was nerves, exhaustion, maybe the wind slipping through the window. But deep down I felt it, the presence, the kind of awareness that doesn't just surround you, it focuses on you. My throat tightened, and even in the dark I knew I was not alone. The first touch came faintly, almost shy, fingers, or something like them, brushing across my thigh. I froze, every muscle tight, my hands digging into the sheets. The graze was light, careful, but it carried intention, as though it waited for my reaction. I swallowed hard, lips parting, but no sound escaped. Fear coiled through me, sharp and suffocating, yet something else pulsed beneath it, shameful and undeniable. The mattress dipped at my back, slow and deliberate. Not a shift, not imagination, weight, knees pressing into the bed. My pulse thundered in my ears, and I pressed myself deeper into the pillow, as though that could hide me. But the warmth grew nearer, curling around me, and then I felt the breath at my neck, hot, steady, terrifyingly intimate. I wanted to cry out. I wanted to run. Instead, I trembled, caught between terror and an ache I couldn't explain. My body stiffened when invisible fingers slid along my waist, pausing just long enough to claim the moment. My skin burned, goosebumps rising everywhere at once. I whispered to myself that it wasn't real, that I was dreaming. But the truth pressed harder with every second. The dip in the mattress, the scent in the air, the breath curling against my ear. They were too real to ignore. And just as I thought I couldn't bear another touch, the whisper came. Not a word I could fully hear, but a sound, low, steady, curling straight through me. My pulse skipped, my body shivered, and I knew with terrible clarity the night was only beginning, and I had already been chosen. The weight at my back grew heavier, the mattress sinking deeper, as if something had fully joined me in the bed. My lungs struggled for air, every breath shallow, uneven, burning with the heat of panic. Yet when the touch returned, firmer now, sliding along my hip in a deliberate line, my body betrayed me. I gasped, arching ever so slightly, and the presence responded with another breath at my neck, hotter, closer, impossibly possessive. My fingers clawed at the sheets, but the more I resisted, the more insistent the contact became. A slow graze across my stomach, a pause at my ribs. The kind of touch that wasn't curious. It was claiming. My pulse hammered so hard I thought it might split my chest, but I couldn't stop the shiver that rippled down my spine. I whispered no, voice trembling, but the sound barely left my lips before it was swallowed by silence. The air thickened with that same intoxicating scent, earthy and sweet, wrapping around me until fear blurred into something darker. Shame tightened my throat, because the truth was clear. I wasn't only terrified, I was drawn in. But the real shock was still to come. The mattress shifted sharply, unseen knees pressing into either side of me. I was trapped, pinned. My heart slammed against my ribs as invisible fingers slid upward, tracing the line of my waist before pausing just beneath my chest. The heat of its presence hovered above me, close enough that I could feel the weight of every breath it exhaled. I clenched my eyes shut, praying the moment would break. But then the whisper came again, louder this time, curling into my ear like a vow. Mine. The word vibrated through me, undeniable, inescapable. My body shook violently, torn between terror and the unbearable pull that word carried. The blanket slid lower, tugged by unseen hands, leaving me bare to the cold air. I gasped, clutching at the sheets, but the weight at my waist pressed harder, holding me still. I couldn't move. I couldn't fight. All I could do was tremble as the presence lingered, savoring every second of my helplessness. My breath hitched, shallow and broken, as the fingers traced higher again, stopping just short of where fear and desire collided in the cruelest way. The silence buzzed with heat, thick and suffocating. I thought I'd reached my limit, that nothing more could be taken from me. And then, just as the pressure at my waist shifted, the lamp on my nightstand flickered. Once, twice. My eyes snapped open to the glow trembling against the walls, and in that flicker, in that instant of light, I swore I saw a shadow leaning over me. And then the light died, plunging the room back into darkness. The lamp died, plunging me back into the suffocating dark. My chest heaved, every breath jagged, my body still pinned beneath the invisible weight. The silence pressed so hard it rang in my ears, and for one terrible heartbeat, I thought maybe the shadow I saw was gone. But then the mattress dipped again, deeper this time, and the warmth returned, hovering over me, closer than ever before. Invisible fingers dragged across my stomach, slow and deliberate, pausing just beneath my ribs before gliding lower again. My body shook violently, every nerve on fire, torn between the need to escape and the shameful pull that made me tremble. I whispered, "Please," into the pillow, but the word cracked in my throat, half plea, half surrender. The breath at my ear grew hotter, steadier, curling like a secret meant only for me. My pulse raced so loud it drowned out everything else, and when the whisper came again, mine, it vibrated through my bones. I arched involuntarily, my body betraying me in the cruelest way, and the presence seemed to savor it, pressing harder, holding me down. I clawed at the sheets, desperate for control, but the blanket had already been stripped away. Cold air licked my skin while unseen hands lingered, tracing lines that left me trembling. The silence felt alive, humming with ownership, as though the presence wasn't just near me. It was inside me, echoing in every shallow breath I took. For one terrifying second, I thought it would never end, that I would be trapped here, claimed forever in the dark. And then, just as suddenly as it began, the weight lifted, the heat vanished, the air cleared. I gasped, dragging in air like I had been drowning. My hands shook as I scrambled upright, staring into the shadows of my room. Everything was still, too still. The dresser, the chair, the window curtain. Ordinary again. But when I looked down, I froze. Two deep indentations remained in the blanket at the foot of the bed. Knees. Perfectly still, perfectly real. And before I could even move, the marks began to drag slowly toward me. My breath caught, my body paralyzed, every nerve screaming. The last thing I felt before the silence swallowed me again was the dip of the mattress at my feet, and then nothing. Even now, when I close my eyes, I wait for the heat of that breath, the curl of that whisper, the claim that never really left me. Because once something touches you like this, you never sleep alone again. Have you ever felt something brush against you in the dark? Tell me in the comments. I want to hear your story. Subscribe to Paranormal Sleep for more terrifying midnight encounters, because next time the story might be yours.